Ktunaxa Kapiniskis. Ktunaxa Kapiniskis. Welcome. So nice to see so many familiar faces. And Mara, I haven't seen you since language lessons. I miss you. Um, okay, I'm gonna dive right in because it's short and sweet today. But I can say Hugashik Jade, English Canadian. Gashi England and Hugashasani Mishkakas. I'm Jade. I'm the director of learning at CBean and the outdoor learning store. I was a grateful language learner with Alfred and Mara over the last couple of years here, and I'm deeply honored to be sharing this hosting space with you for just a moment. And I'm just gonna start us here. Welcome. This is Ktunaxa Nature Walk, Alfred Joseph's Walkabout. So we're here to celebrate this beautiful work and the language revitalization in it. For me, I just wanted to say a brief. These are two photos from my walkabout today, and how much I deeply appreciate that spending time learning from you, Alfred, and in these beautiful Indigenous spaces has led me to a deeper appreciation. I'm here in Ktunaxa the land of the chickadee, and that's the Chickadee River that my little dog was having a little paddle in today. And I saw this beautiful tiger lily just on its own. It didn't have any friends, and I just thought it was the most majestic thing. So I'm here at the alongside the Chickadee River that's importance for the Ktunaxa and the Secwepemc and the Silts and the Knights First Nations too, but I'm deeply grateful to be here with you. And the main reason we're here is to chat with Alfred Joseph. So not only are you a highly respected Ktunaxa Elder and past chief of the Akisqnuk Nation, you're an expert in Ktunaxa language, which I have experienced from learning from you directly. And has enormous knowledge and passion as an educator in all different ways. You're a student at St. Eugene's Residential School and graduated from Old Agricultural College. You have a farm with hay production of farm animals and had a trail riding operation for 25 years and have again experienced firsthand how knowledgeable you are about Ktunaxa culture, and you were just sharing about medicine just before we came on. So incredible knowledge. You have taught Ktunaxa language and continue to do so, and are clearly involved in sharing Ktunaxa traditional knowledge and are in so many different spaces working so hard and encouraging the implementation of that knowledge into Ktunaxa Nation Council programs and policy. Sukasukini, Alfred, it's so wonderful to see you again and have you here to share.
Yeah, thanks for having this happening. I've been looking forward to it. Excuse me. I think before we get right into talking about the book, it sort of goes synonymous with a friend of ours that has left us from this earth, Nadine Hale. So I would like to dedicate some time to her. When we started a language program called the Spider's Web, Nokenka Aktikais, 4 years ago, just over 4 years ago. And we have 2-hour sessions, language sessions every Tuesday night. Now, Nadine joined us with that. And she was very interested in the language and took a very high interest in wanting to learn the language and being part of the learning. And she also was very instrumental in getting the book published, printed and published, and um, some of the photographs done to it. But when we first started the language Spiders Web program, I told everyone that was on there about our um, creation story. And as far as I know, our creation story is the only creation story amongst the First Nations that has all the races included in it. Because in our creation story, the humans were started because of the Onik being killed and his body parts thrown all over into different parts of the world by the big giant Nasmuktin. And we have got the hoodoos here, which we say are a remnant of the Onik's ribs. So with that as a preface, I want to read something that Nadine wrote. And it just goes to show how this was one of the first writings that she wrote, and I found it because I keep all the papers that my workers do. So I'll just read it. Aknokak is Yawonik. Who am I? Aknokak is Yawonik is the name for the hoodoos. So the hoodoos, who am I? I am falling into Ktunaxa cosmology wholeheartedly. Maybe I have a place here. This feels like an embrace, a drawing to and into each other, a leaning in. It feels good. Last week, as I journeyed home towards Akisqnuk from Akisqnuk, I stopped and walked through Akisqnuk Nasmuktin. Nasmuktin's forearm, the headwaters of the Columbia River. I pondered on Akisqnuk's Nasmuktin trapping Yamunik in Columbia Lake. Would love to know the Ktunaxa names for these bodies of water, separating the Kootenai River from the Columbia River. I could feel the land itself alive, the rocks and plants alive, with story, with beingness. I could feel myself alive in Ktunaxa Amakis. I continued my journey north towards Akisqnuk. As I came around the corner heading into Dutch Creek, the afternoon sun lit with golden light Yaknokaki, place where the ribs are, the hoodoos. I could not stop myself from pulling in along the creek, walking the creek bank until I came to a place that I could look up in awe and wonder at the Awonik Aknokakis, the ribs of Yawonik. It gimin ka aknokaknis. It gimin aknokaknis ka aknokak. Make my ribs your ribs. Make your ribs my ribs. These are the words that came to me as I stood in awe and wonder, gazing at Aknokakis Yawonik. I have been reflecting on and pondering them deeply. In life, in my life, learning from the Christian tradition, I have seen my being coming from the earth, Hebrew Adama, meaning earth, and breath being blown into my rib cage, my lungs, by the breath of Yahweh. Yahweh says to me, to us, Abad, till, and Shamar, keep the earth. This is a story that I have held on to. Yahweh making me from the earth, Adama, blowing spirit into my ribs and asking me to till and to keep Abad and Shamar, the earth, Adama. As I stood in awe and wonder, I could feel Akisqnuk, the one who made us, inviting me asking Akisqnuk to be a part of the Ktunaxa cosmology, to make me a part of this earth here in Ktunaxa Amakis, expanding my cosmological understanding of the world and who I am. I am not only a Dhamma, I am also Amak, earth, soil, part of Ktunaxa Amakis, meaning earth, land of the Ktunaxa. Wow, this is transformative. I love that the verb to make, itkin, singular imperative conjugation, being itkinen, the word that came to me is a root word in Akisqnuk, the one who made us. I learned from Alfred Joseph that Akiswe, heart, is a foundational root word for many Ktunaxa words. These are the words I have learned so far. Gaswi, to think, to yearn, to try. Iskiswi, to be wise, smart, devout. Akoniswi, to be determined, to persevere. Nupaniswi, to think of napika, spiritual belief. Sakniswi tiati, to think again about it, to remember. Now, when I hear the word iskiswi nam, the closest word that Ktunaxa have for education, the process of becoming wise, I have a deeper understanding of it as encompassing all of the words with sui as a root word. There will be more, I am sure. I would love to learn verbs for words like to listen, to love, to care for, to keep, to feel, to have compassion, to have understanding, to learn, to journey. This will come, I am sure. Patience and time. In the creation story, as told by Wilfred Jacobs, the spirit animals that inhabited the earth before the Akisqnuk ascend to be our profound, and I'm using the word our here, Nipika's guiding spirits. The Akisqnuk Kootenai people, of whom I am one, whites from the organ known as the swim bladder, scattered by Nasmukjin, are to be keepers of the land. Wow. Hutskaswini, I yearn to learn more. Hutsakuniswi, I will be determined in my learning. Hutsakuniswi, I will be determined to walk as an Akisqnuk, to be a keeper of Ktunaxa Amakis, to learn Akmutstissis, Ktunaxa ways of being, Ktunaxa law. Hutsakuniswini, I will listen to the Nipikas to lead me on this journey. Ktunaxa I will remember, think again about this time of the unquestionable presence of Akisqnuk. There is a quote from Richard Wagamese that resonates. To be struck by the magnificence of nature is to be returned again in all too brief moments to the innocence in which we were born. Wonder, humility, we draw them into us and are altered forever by the unquestionable presence of Creator. This is just the beginning of my understanding. There is so much more to ponder, so much to learn from this cosmology. There will be more, I am sure. Tachas. So that is what she wrote. And so she had sent it to me. And not knowing these people, because I used to see them on the screen. And it sort of I'm reading it and I'm thinking, this lady is crazy. She's way out there. And over the years, over the 4 years that we worked together with the language and with working with the Walkabout book, um, she was able to um, really we were able to make a real good connection. And we had a lot of respect for each other. We um, would help each other. The those dogs that you play with and you have a toy and then you give it to the dog and they never let go of it. You try and take it away. That was Nadine. With the book, with this book that um, the Walkabout book, she was constantly just hammering me. Okay, you need to do this. Okay, what shall we do here? This is what we got to do. And I really appreciated her because she was um, very, I'm gonna say very pushy on getting things done. And on the acknowledgments in the back of the book, on the acknowledgments, I wrote, thank you to Nadine Hale for your constant and steady push to complete the various stages of the plans and the numerous reviews of aligning the photos and words. And she thought that was a little bit, how would you say, she wanted me to change the wording on it. I said, no, I'm not going to change the wording because you were like just pushing, you know, you were that engine that kept things going. So to me, that was very special person that I got to know for a very short time, like 4 years. I remember my birthday is in January, and I was trying to have my language group on Tuesday. We always hit it every year. And I was trying to keep it, try and miss one of my birthdays. And the first time, the first year we had it, um, Nadine baked a cake for me. She brought it down, and it was a chocolate cake. And I'm not a very um, favorite person of chocolate. So she brings it in, and she has got chocolate um, icing on it. And then I see it, I'm thinking, I said, oh, I said, I'm not really chocolate isn't really my favorite cake. And then she says, feeling bad, she says, oh, I didn't know that. And I said, well, we can just cover it up with a white icing sugar and then it won't look like a chocolate anymore. So we try to make things as fun and as um, acceptable by everybody. Let's put it that way, where everybody feels that they're worth something. So that is my tribute to Nadine. I know we missed her already at some of our activities that we had for the Tuesday night Spiders Web group, but she was um, always part of it. She had planned over a year ago to have our two Tuesday night group and our uh, Thursday night Vancouver group um, language learners get together, and we had planned it to be happening up at her place, and that didn't happen. So the following year we had it in Cranbrook, and that just we never know when our time is up. So I have to say that we have to really learn to appreciate each other every day. So, and that's my tribute to Nadine. So, so now going to the book, um, again, the start of that language, the Ktunaxa language has been a very important thing for myself personally over my years. Back in the 80s, still even further back in the 70s, late 70s, no, sorry, early 70s, because I graduated out of high school in 1970. So it was about that time when the language was written for the first time by a linguist by the name of Larry Morgan. And so all the people had to learn the different symbols for the different sounds in our language. And I remember my auntie, Lucy Birdstone, she was one of the first people that they were teaching to be language instructors. And I remember her writing the word, um, um, I think it was just, no, ta, um, tahakni. And I think that was the word. And it was meaning that having a lot of hay. And I remember her writing it out and I was looking at it. And before that, in order for me to learn, I had to do my own symbols for all the different sounds, like the Bardell and the X, ha sound. So back in the 80s, we were learning how to write it. We still had a lot of fluent speakers, elders that didn't know how to write it, but we, as the younger people, were trying to learn how to write it. And the um, challenge was to try and keep that interest in the language. At that time, we never really thought of it as a language isolate. We just knew it was our language and that there wasn't a lot of people wanting to learn it. And so we were trying to set up something so that we could learn how to keep it going. So back in the 80s, we would try, and then Christmas would come along. We started in September with language lessons, and in Christmas, and after Christmas, we'd start again, and there'd be a lot less people. So we stopped. And that was the pretty well the record of the language lessons over time. So as time went on, and now in how come the Walkabout book came about was I was very, very concerned about the language and how over the years, over 40 years, we never had any success with language lessons or getting more speakers. It just was not on the level of importance throughout the nation. So one day I was here in the house, and then I went out across the road, and I thought to myself, everywhere I look, I see that we would have had a Ktunaxa word for that. So I went out onto the trail. I had a small little trail that was a circle trail. And so I went out there and started writing down the different plants in English and came back and I started writing down the Ktunaxa words for it, and then created about 4 or 5 sheets of paper with those words. First, I started with 3 sheets, and I started numbering 1 to whatever, 36 with the words in that. And so I started with that, and I went out there with the orange ribbon, and on the orange ribbon, I had the number, let's say 10. If it was rose bush number 10, I would tie this ribbon on the rose bush and write a 10 on there. So my thinking was all our people, I'm talking about the Ktunaxa people, that I would take them on the walk and just say, this is what, we call this plant. This is what, we call this plant. So those started as in a very, very simple way. And I found out as I went around with my like 36 words, I ended up seeing more things. So then I added on. So I had about 5 or 6 sheets of paper with 2 number ones on it because I can remember where I ended and they're all mixed up. Like there was the word for bird nest. And so when we did the Tuesday night language lesson, I showed the group I called it the walkabout. That was basically what I called it, my walkabout paper. So we're going through all the different words, just teaching them about the sounds and the different plants. And then the group decided, this would make a good book. And then so they started working on it, and I'm sure Nadine took pretty well the lead in that. So they started working on it. And then later on, it was like, okay, we need pictures for all these. And I had already started taking pictures of them. That was my idea, was to somehow get a picture and the word together. And my format would have been just on a piece of paper. Like I'm very old style. I would have put a picture of Akisqnuk bush and then typed out or printed out the word for the Akisqnuk bush in Ktunaxa language, and then glued them together, and then made a photocopy of it. That was my method of my creating resources. And so then the Tuesday night group decided they wanted to take that as a book, and all the photos in there, some of them were from the Tuesday night group. And then first it started with the photo and the name. As we're collecting the photos and creating the booklet, someone said, what about QR code? Let's put a QR code on there. Like way above my head. I mean, I didn't even know you could do that. So then they went and did the QR code. And Nadine came down, and so we recorded all the words on the list with my voice on there. And then we had to put them in a book, make sure the QR code was correct. On the first printing of the 200, there is 4 mistakes. I just did a quick check this page, went open up another page, check that. And the 4 pages that I checked were all correct, so I assumed everything was okay. But after the first 200 went out, Nadine went and found out that there was 4 in there that were in the wrong place. And I still didn't check to see which ones they were, but she was always looking into, how to get things correct. So we finally got the first 200 printed out, and then we did another I think it was 1,000 that we printed off next. And I was just got an email here saying that over 800 booklets have been sent out. So 800 of the 1,000 that we had already redone after the 200. So I would like to say thank you to all those that, already have their book. And it is, like I say, the origin of it was to preserve and to make our Ktunaxa people realize the importance of our language. And there is a few like the chaka, which is this one here, and there's a little note in the bottom. Berries eaten, it should be right off eaten as, yeah, berries eaten as is off the plant. Good source of vitamin C. And then berries dried and eaten similar to popcorn. Like I haven't tried it, but I've heard that if you dry it and then you put it in the frying pan, it'll pop like popcorn. So I haven't tried that. It'll be my experiment for this year. And then so there is the picture, the Ktunaxa word, the QR code, and it was asked, do you want the English on the page? And I said, no. The English is in the back of the book. So if you want the English, you got to work for it. So I wanted to reverse everything before you do the English and then look for the Ktunaxa. So now we reverse it. Now we've given you the Ktunaxa and you got to look for the English. So, and it's size that you can take out with you out in the woods. That was one of the things we wanted. We wanted the material that it's made out of to be able to handle a lot of handling and misuse. So these are meant to be taken with you when you're out on your hikes or on your camping trips. Again, this is all only the plants locally in the, I'm going to say in the East Kootenays. Now, the West Kootenays have got a different environment, and there's a lot of different plants. They do have the Oregon grape, the Nahok over there, but their Nahok grows taller than my cane. I've got a picture of one over there where the plant can be anywhere like up to 4 feet in height. So I haven't really uh, done too much work in with that over there. And I know the Tuesday night group had wanted plans for doing another one on the another booklet on birds and animals, but I'm not too sure whether we will be able to do that. One thing too that Nadine also was responsible for are all the seeding language classes. She introduced me to Duncan. She says, oh, I've got this friend that wants to join our Tuesday night group. And I told her, no, we don't want him. And I think she was in shock because then I explained to her, I said, we are so far ahead with in the language learning that for him to join now without any experience, it'd be a waste of his time. And then she explained to me that Duncan was looking after this bigger group and they'd like to learn some language. So we had a meeting. Nadine brought Duncan down and we had a meeting. And then Mara Nelson and I worked towards doing a 12-week, 1.5 hour every think it was Monday, course for beginners. So we did that. And so the importance of our language as an isolate, which means nowhere else in the world is it spoken. Um, right now we have a lot of motion happening with the language, a lot of activity, and I hope it continues on. I know the ones that have taken the language course with me, either through my Tuesday night group or through CBean, have been taught to make the sounds properly, as I don't want to have the language spoken in a different way, like Akisqnuk instead of Akisqnuk. I don't want that little variation and change of the language, and I'm trying to keep it as true as possible. So in this booklet, all my words that you hear are spoken fairly slow and easy enough to hear all the sounds. And was done on purpose because the importance of saying the words properly. So dachas, I'm done.
Sukuni, Alfred. Could just listen to you talk for hours and hours and hours. If it was, I'll remove the spotlight so that you can see everyone again. Thank you so much for sharing and for your beautiful dedication and work. I wonder if there's anyone here that has a question. If you wanted to pose it in the chat just quickly before we sign off here. But Kimberly wanted to write, Geisa, thank you for your generosity and the sharing of your wisdom and experience with us, Alfred. So grateful for you and this beautiful book and your voice. So wonderful to be able to connect on an even deeper level with the life and land in this valley. Thank you. And thank you for sharing your words about your relationship with Nadine. It sounds like a wonderful spirit. I've already got a lot of use out of this wonderful resource, sharing health and happiness. Lots of other people saying thank you. You gave so much information, you didn't leave much room for questions.
No, I looked at my clock down here and oh my God, we're over.
No, but it's not the time taken. It's just that you give such great information. Melanie asked, will we have another CBean language class? I believe so, right?
I
Maybe.
believe so. And then there'll also be a level 2. So we'll have a level 1 and a level 2. We have been requested by a lot of the level 1 people that have taken it. They want a level 2. So we haven't burned out their brains yet. So
Yeah. And Jennifer, the lessons are online. Yeah, it's all done via Zoom. Okay, just to close, Emma asked, how are you, Alfred? And is there anything you're thinking about next that you wanted to maybe close with? What are you looking forward to or looking towards the future for?
I think for me, what I'm really looking for and working towards is that my Tuesday night group, of which Nadine was one of the participants, will start teaching, let's say, like the level 1 and the level 2s in a couple years. That way, I am assured of the continuation of the language. I haven't really thought anything of doing another book. It's yeah, because of our language is in such a small area, like the books that would be have to do with the Ktunaxa language would only be for people that are really interested in it. And one of the really sort of crazy, I call them crazy thoughts that I had. For me, this book is going to be either a sign of furthering the Ktunaxa language, keeping it alive, or it's going to be a reminder of the Ktunaxa language that we once had. That is the spot we are at right now. And I am very positive that this will be something that people will continue to be doing and keeping the language alive. And yes, that's how serious I am about the language and the importance of it, and the very importance of having our learners keep moving on. So,
Well, that sounds like a lovely way to close things today, to look forward to the language being continued to be revitalized. And with your endless energy, I feel very optimistic. Akisqnuk Alfred, is there anything else you'd like to say before we close today?
I just saw a message from Trudy.
Oh, yeah. You never stop teaching people. It used to be horses and now it's language. From your old trail
Yeah.
riding buddy,
Well,
Trudy in Nova Scotia.
yeah, I would like to say hi, Trudy. We used to work together on the trail ride the horses, not with her stepfather. So it's a
Oh,
good way to
Emma,
connect through through the we call it looking in the window. In our language, we call it looking in the window. That's what we call Zoom.
and I love that someone asked to see a language camp slash walk so that if you ever have time to host some people for a walk so we can learn from you on the land, that would be amazing.
Yeah, I guess there's one of the other things too is that the trail that this book is, made from, you know, I may have it set up where we have signs. We've talked about that. So it'll be like a public space for people interested in the book.
Sounds like lots of exciting things for the future. Okay, we're going to honor your time, Alfred. You always give so much in these spaces and say um, good night, afternoon.
So just me it.
Gesmeerd.
So just me it.
Okay, so gesmeerd. I didn't know whether I was allowed to say it this early in the day,
If you close
but
your eyes, it's not that early.
yeah.
If you close your eyes, it's dark.
There you go. You can always go to sleep and say good night if you need to. How beautiful. And a wicked, everyone. Gesmeerd. Good night. Thank you, Akisqnuk Alfred. Always so
Yeah.
wonderful to be with you.
And I appreciate everybody taking their time to join us here. Thank you very much. Bye.